and welcome to another out of this world episode of Paranormal XL Podcast, Season 4, Aliens. Oh, my freaking crazy eyes going everywhere. It's been a long week. So today, of course, we have a special co-host, Joe from 222 Paranormal Podcast with us. Let's bring him on.
Hey!
Hi, Joe. In your amazing shirt, by the way.
I had to do something a little different. I know that you've never seen me in anything but black.
I haven't either.
I'm putting on my shirt, my bowling shirt.
This is phenomenal. So if you're listening to the podcast, you need to go find the video to this podcast because it is amazing. Even if it's for a quick second to see Joe's amazing shirt. I love it.
Cat. That's a cat.
Stand up, show it off. I love it. That is great.
I had a t-shirt on and I'm like, I know she's going to be using her camera, so I better put on a nice shirt. And I saw this. I'm like, I'm going to make her laugh.
I'm going to put on my fancy shirt.
Okay, so our family does a bowling thing where it's 9 is fine. It's all for fun.
Yeah.
It's nothing serious. And I always hated bowling. And my sister was like, hey, we're going to start bowling. You want to try? I'm like, yeah, why not? Well, it turns out it's actually fun because there's no, we don't even care about the scores.
Yeah.
And my nephew, who is a sheriff and a very respected person in the community, said, we got to get shirts. So we got the most crazy shirts we could think of. What I wanted to do was I wanted to look like Al Bundy when he bowled.
Yes,
same outfits.
Oh, my God.
So, anyways, when I went and I had to put a shirt on because I had an old t-shirt on because I was working on the house this morning. And I'm like, I'm going to freak her out by putting on this shirt. But it's alien to see me in a shirt like this.
It is. There's no explanation whatsoever. I love it. So this week we're going to discuss alien theories, which this is going to be a forever show, such as why they aren't known among us or where they are, or maybe they're already here and hiding among us. So what is your number one theory that sticks out, or did you jump on the theory train on one, or do you have your own theory?
I really don't know, because I'm on the fence of a lot of stuff because I do so much research that I see so many different parts of this, but I just think that they are here. I believe that sometimes they come, sometimes they leave, but they may be among us. We don't know. But being that this is a theory show, there's so many different theories about them. Are they coming here and staying? Are they coming here to look? Are they even coming here themselves?
Right.
We mentioned on the show we did before about shadow figures. We don't know what they are. Mm-hmm. And my theory is that the aliens are in a ship and either coming here or sending their ships as physical beings and coming on this planet to see us or to observe because they haven't done anything. Now, we have seen a lot of abductions, mm-hmm. but the thing is, it's not like they're coming and wiping out a whole continent.
Right.
City, even a city. They're not coming in here and taking the whole city or nothing like so. We don't know what they're doing here. We don't know if they're observing. Maybe a little later we'll get into a really weird theory that I've got. But like I said, we don't understand why they're coming here. But I believe that they are coming here in ships.
Okay.
Now, we mentioned on that show before about how shadow figures could be aliens, and the way that they're coming here is they're not sending their bodies, they're sending their energies,
right? Not their physical self.
Yeah, and being able to see what they see. So I don't know. There's so many different theories, but I think I still stand with the theory that they're just travelers coming here in ships.
So you don't think we're a science project? We're a sixth grader aliens science project. You know how you have those ant farms, and that's us, and we're terribly failing.
That's one of the theories I was going to mention. Is that could be what they are doing here? Mm-hmm. When you think about it, we see an ant hill. and we'll sit there and they'll play with the ants, or they'll take and put them in between glass and make little ant farms that you can look at in your bedroom. Or we take magnifying glasses and burn them, I mean,
Right.
to the ant, we're the aliens in their world.
Right. Yeah.
Are the aliens coming down here, and the abductions that we hear and the experiments that we hear, it looks like that's what they're doing. Like we're their science projects and they have to come down here. And think about it. If in high school, when you dissected a frog, you didn't think about how that frog felt. They just did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I see with abductions and stuff like that, or like animal mutilation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's people think of like cows being mutilated and stuff like that, or horses. But they found everything. They found dogs. They found all kinds of stuff with the same markings on them. And they've even seen some cases. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen some cases where humans were cut that way, the same way as they found the cattle.
Right.
Like mutilation, where the mouths are cut in a certain way, like the eyes are always missing, the blood is completely missing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how gory you want to get it, but they core the body through the backside,
Right.
And they found these cattle mutilations are like that. So and a lot of the cattle mutilations too, it looks like when they find them that the cattle was dropped, but it never bounced. Like it was set there, like as if the alien took their ray guns or whatever they have and put them back. Instead of just shooting the cattle off into space after they're done with it, they put it back where they found it. But it's put down with such a force that it looks like it fell from a high, like real far up.
Right.
But yet they don't bounce. So
right. So, but okay, let's say that they're taking that, but are they throwing people back like that too? These people that have been abducted? Like that's what I find
I think is with like where I'm putting the cattle mutilation and abductions together is I think they are doing like science, like we're their science projects. Like they're trying to figure us out and they're dissecting us, like I'm not saying they're taking humans and cutting them apart in that, which we don't know, but
no, we don't.
I mean, I think that we could be their science experiments and they're coming here to do that kind of stuff.
That's always where I thought too. Ever since I was like a kid and learned about like aliens and stuff, that's always where my brain went to, is like we are their science project. So let's take like okay, so are they living among us? Like, so you know how like we have serial killers, because this is my true crime brain kicked on here. Yeah. Okay. So you have these sociopaths, they have no empathy. Is that maybe something that you think like maybe that is what separates us? Like these people that were put here with no empathy, like they are a type of alien. My brain is going way off the rails right now, but
did the aliens get into the people's minds
and take their energy?
Them? Yeah. Or here's even but okay, I'm sure it's so hard for me because I'm skipping around so much, but I was at a convention and I was at a convention and we were doing our thing and this lady came up to us and I didn't know her at first, but come to find out she's a very respected researcher in the field. And she told me, she's like, yeah, there's a reptilian here at the convention. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, it glamored itself to me. And I'm like, it glamored? Did it put on big eyeglasses or something? And it's like, look at me.
I'm here.
Wow, jazz hands. No, she said that they cloak themselves to look like us.
Yeah,
and
which would make sense.
She has worked with them for so long that they knew who she was and they actually showed their true shape and true form to her. So whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Right.
But they could be among us and we don't even know it. And they're observing us or studying us or doing whatever. And they could be walking among us and we don't even know. And, maybe that is part of with these serial killers. Maybe, I'm not saying it is, but maybe that's one aspect of it is they have no empathy towards anybody. They just look at this person as a meat sack that can be taken advantage of or whatever.
Like, I'm gonna take apart okay. So I'm sorry. Now I got serial killers and crime and I'm like, yeah. So like, oh man, where was I going? So some of these serial killers, like, they really mutilate. So like maybe that they are a type of alien and they are actually doing like the science stuff right here on Earth. But we're like, oh no, they're in the shape of a human.
Yeah.
So it's a human, and
that's where this lady was talking to me and said that there is a reptilian at that convention because it was a UFO convention.
Right.
And she says, yeah, they walk among us all the time. We can't tell the difference because they look and act just like us. But they have a way that they cloak themselves to look like us and act like us and talk like us and everything.
Absolutely.
So here's another theory. Now, I want to talk about the Greys too, but let's talk about different aspects of this theory. Is how do we know that these aliens, like the tall Greys and the tall blonde ones, I forget the name of them, but anyways, they look like they're from Sweden. They got they got the blonde hair and all that. But, and even the Greys, or even, I shouldn't say the Greys, because I want to talk about the Greys. And when I mention Greys, I mean the short little ones. Okay.
No, like isn't there tall ones? Aren't they mean?
Yeah.
Like, isn't
they are.
What they've learned from the caves and stuff is that the tall Greys, like maybe those were the serial killers.
That's possible. But the people that have been abducted by the Greys say that there's always a tall Grey that does. The little Greys don't do much, but the tall ones do. But let's think about this. How do we know? Now, we've evolved, and we're evolving even more. And if you notice that some people are starting to have bigger eyes and stuff, but how do we know in a million years what we're going to look like?
That's true.
Okay, so let's just throw this out. We become a space traveling humanoids. We don't need our planet has a lot of gravity. We don't need the gravity anymore, so we lose body mass. Our fingers elongate. Our bodies get skinnier. Our heads get bigger because our brain capacity gets bigger.
Yeah.
The lower light makes our eyes bigger. We don't need to eat as much because of our, we're evolving into something that can absorb energy and stuff. So our mouths don't have to be that big. So that right there, and plus think about this too, is we're not around the sun. We're always out in space. So there's artificial light.
Right.
So our skin will change color to more of a grayish tone or more of a ash color. That right there is describing the tall Greys. Now, let's say that we are those Greys 1,000,000 years or 1,000 or 10,000 years or 1,000,000, whatever, years from now. We have evolved to that point. Now, let's say that you're an inquisitive Grey and you're sitting around in your house and you're like, I want to see what Gettysburg looked like. I want to see what it looked like when Jesus was around. Yeah. So I'm going to get in my spaceship and I'm going to time travel back.
So now you're adding in time travel.
So now I'm adding in the theory of the aliens being tourists from the future, coming back to see what's
up,
what we looked like back then. So that's one theory, that they're time traveling tourists and they're coming back to see us. Now that would make sense because they can pick any time in history. So
that's true. Yeah.
They could go back to 1940 or 1920 back when the airship flap was going on, where all of a sudden you started to see all these airships that looked like balloons flying through the air because we didn't have planes back then, they had
Right.
balloons. Or you end up having where, like we mentioned on the show that we did before about cave drawings, the people on Earth look and see these beings, so they draw them. Well, how do we know that those beings didn't just come back to see what the cavemen look like? That they have the technology. If the technology is millions years in advance, what's it going to look like? Could they be time travelers? So that's one of the theories. I mean, think about this. I posted on Facebook a picture of the Wright brothers plane taking off.
Yeah.
And then a picture of the space shuttle. That was only, 60 years or something like that, or even less? Or maybe 100 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's just that short amount of time. I mean, the human race has been around for so long, and the universe has been around so long. How do we know that some of these other planets aren't so advanced to where they can do that, where they can or they can either be international or not international, but space travelers?
Yeah. I'm definitely not against
tourists.
it. That's always interested me, that the time travel thing, because you see things obviously on the internet, because the internet knows all
Yes.
of things that people have found in pictures and such of that would make you question a time traveler.
Travelers.
Yeah. I don't know why I've never put the two and two together as far as to throw aliens or alien tendencies into that. Interesting.
Yeah, I just thought of that too. It's, we as a species right now try to look at our past and think if we had the technology where we could actually go back in time, or go back in time and see what we did back then, we would do it. Man, maybe they have that technology where they can do that.
That's true. Obviously, they're way ahead of us.
Yeah.
So this was one of the theories that I looked up. I don't know if you ever heard about it, the dark forest theory.
No, I haven't heard that.
So I'm going to read off my notes.
Okay.
Because words, that's I have to prep for my shows. So the dark forest theory became popular because of the fiction writer Lou Kickson. In the novel, the author compares the universe as a nocturnal forest. As you know, many things lurk in the forest, especially at night. Hunters and prey alike. Since there are 200 billion stars in the galaxy, a large forest indeed, it's possible that life forms could exist in many forms and simply worry of each other. Oh my God. Words. Beings could be silently hunting us or afraid of being located by certain prey in the universe. Considering we've been sending out signals for decades, we could have put a huge target on our planet and solar system. That's a dark area indeed. Yes, it could be extremely dangerous to contact other civilizations, especially those which are advanced, hence those smart aliens we were just talking about. Also think about our actions on this planet, our wars, genocide, stuff like that, all the bad stuff. What are these aliens like? They're up there and they're kind of watching and they're like, what are you doing? Like, why do you have these giant bombs? Why are we killing this mass amount of people? Like, what is happening? They may even have a great reason to avoid us and hide in the shadows. Hence what I just said. They're back there watching all that crazy stuff. It happened and probably trying to figure out why we keep killing ourselves off. I just thought that was weird how they put, like, so you picture the universe as a dark forest. You don't know what's out there. You don't know what you're getting, type of thing where are you prey or are you hunting? As you're going out there at night and nothing's out there, maybe there are one set of aliens hunting us, or maybe they think that they're going to be hunted by us from watching what we do to each other. I mean,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you think that as a whole? Like, take yourself
Yeah.
out of our small little box of a planet. And if you were like up here and you're watching and nobody can get along,
Yeah.
and why would you want to go there? That's
We are
scary.
the hostile planet. Yeah. You know, we mentioned about how people say, well, how do we know that they're not here to attack us and all that stuff? You know, we need to stay away from the hostile aliens, but we're the hostile ones. We're the ones, like you said, are blowing each other up constantly and fighting each other and all that. And, you know, do aliens even want to come to this planet? They might drive by and see, or fly by and see, and they'll be
Lock
like,
the door.
don't mess with the humans. Don't mess with humans or whatever, or that planet.
They're
because
crazy.
They will kill. I mean, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when an alien would fly down here? I mean, I know it's all television and movies and that, but in all the movies and television shows, what's the first thing that happens? The military comes out and tries to shoot them.
Exactly. Maybe the aliens are watching those movies that we're airing out all over. I mean, the signals get sent to space.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know,
it's
and
insane.
yeah, we've been sending out signals for 50, 60 years now.
Yeah.
And they look at that, and how do we know that they're not looking at those movies and thinking, look at these other aliens landed there and look what happened to them?
Yeah.
don't
No
know.
thanks. Yeah. That I would be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Like, it's another one that was listed was about, like we were just saying, being deliberately avoided.
Yeah.
You know, you don't drive, or you don't go through Gary, Indiana when you're driving through to go to Illinois. You just don't. You go around.
Yeah.
You intentionally, and it may take you an extra 45 minutes, whatever, but you go around. You just don't go in.
That's it.
You deliberately go around because you want to be alive in 45 minutes. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. That is a great acknowledge, or God, my words are really bad. That's a great speaking words thing.
Analogy.
Yeah, because if they see our videos, they don't know that those are movies. Those are made up.
Right. Yeah.
And
now they can see us doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. But now on the other hand, our signals have only been going out for a certain amount of years. And if you look at a map, go up on the internet and type in
their internet,
how far our signals have gone, it's really not that far.
No, it's really not. And that was another theory, that we haven't been trying to communicate long enough to where the amount of time, because time is man-made anyway, but the amount of time that it takes them to get it, maybe they're just getting it. Like, it's snail mail. They're just getting it. And we're just waiting on their response, or it's still coming through the airwaves or whatever in the universe. I mean,
Proxima Centauri b is a great example of this, because we feel that that's a really good place to look for life right now. We've been looking at this for a long time. It's Proxima Centauri b, it's called. And Proxima Centauri b is 4 light years away. Okay. And so if we send a signal to them, it takes 4.22 years to get a signal one way.
Right.
You know, if we were to fly there, it would take us 73,000 years just to fly there, although it only takes the signal 4 years to get there. So if there is life on Proxima Centauri b and they're looking at us, they're seeing stuff from 4 years ago. So think about where our news and all that was 4 years ago. That's what they're seeing now. So they don't know what we're really about. They're only seeing what we put out there 4 years ago. And that's Proxima Centauri b, the closest planet to us.
Right. So they're getting our past.
Yeah. Other planets could be seeing what happened during World War II. They could be thinking that, well, wait a minute, they're at war right now. You know, so they may not come for that reason. So I don't know. That's it. When you start talking about distances and all that, it changes the whole thing. But You know, like
it
let's
does.
talk about the grays. You know, the classic gray. Short, big eyes, little mouth, no reproductive organs that we know of. No anus. Okay. I heard a great theory from like when we were at the MUFON convention in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This guy said that he believes that they're biological probes, that they're not actually real beings. They're actually probes that are coming on these spaceships, which makes a ton of sense because we don't send people out. We send probes
That's
out.
true. Right.
We've sent so many probes out, and 2 of them right now are so far from the Earth, it boggles the mind that it's literally almost out of our sun's, to where the sun has no action on these.
Right.
You know, but they're so far away because we don't have to send humans, which humans need food. We need oxygen. We need water. You know,
right. We're pretty needy.
The probes, the probes don't need anything. And I think that's the way that the grays are. The grays don't eat. The grays, you know, don't go to the bathroom or whatever. They don't consume.
Right. So the grays are
living beings. I feel somehow that they're biological probes sent from other.
So they're just like our version of the probes.
They don't care if they get destroyed. They, you know, because they don't fight back.
Right.
I don't know. That's just one of the theories. And it made a lot of sense to me when the guy's name was Fred Lang. He's an awesome dude, but he's in MUFON in Pennsylvania. But he'd be someone to have on the show. You need to put in those small Fred Lang. But anyways,
yes,
and he's so funny. Oh, he's a blast to have on. But he made made so much sense to me because the fact that we're doing the same thing where we're sending probes out. We're not sending our astronauts out.
Right. Interesting.
So that's another theory.
That is another theory. Okay, so we got ET and our DNA. So when they started bringing that stuff out, what are your thoughts on that? Like how they say there's a blood type they say is like, you're supposed to be alien.
I just had that wrote down here too. I looked into that. A lot of it is from a lot of that blood comes from monkeys.
Okay.
And that's what that actually, when they say I can't think of the name of the monkeys. But anyways, they're saying that if you have that type of blood, you're an alien. And I'm looking into that. I don't know much about it yet. I did notice that it's the RH negative blood.
Yeah.
And the reason they call it that is the Rhesus. They found that blood is from the rhesus monkeys. And they think, now this is the theory, that the aliens came down and took blood out of the monkeys and to make some of the blood for humans and stuff like that. So I don't know much about it, but I'm digging into that.
Yeah.
But it's the RH factor because of the rhesus monkeys, and that's the type of blood they have.
So I got this.
As far as that, I don't know.
So what I got here is Francis Crick, along with his colleagues James Watson, are best known for their groundbreaking work discovering the helix shape of the DNA molecule. But Crick had a long and productive career and was fascinated and perplexed by the biochemistry of the origins of life. The difficulties surrounding this question led him to consider panspermia as any explanation. Crick summarized his position when he wrote, organisms were deliberately transmitted to Earth by intelligent beings on another planet. We conclude that that was loud. That it's possible that life reached the Earth in this way, but that the scientific evidence is inadequate at the present time to say anything about the probability.
Transpermia.
Yes, thank you.
It's where they think that the life actually originated on meteorites or meteors or comets.
It kind of crashed because it says it will continue to be a controversial theory for years to come.
Mm-hmm. Because we have so much junk DNA that they don't know what it's used for. There's in our DNA itself.
Right.
A lot of it is what they call junk DNA, which they have no clue what the DNA is there for. And they don't know how I guess they don't know how it's made or stuff like that. But
right.
Transpermia is where they feel that the life actually came off of a asteroid impact or a comet impact into the Earth.
Which I guess that's not so far-fetched if you think about it, though. I mean,
No.
We know how it got here.
I mean, I firmly believe, and we're talking time here. The Earth has only been habitable for a certain amount of time.
Right.
But other planets are older than ours. Now, this is going to throw us for a long rabbit hole that we're not going to be able to get into on this show. But I still believe that there was life on Mars previous to the Earth. And this goes back to different things that we found on Mars that a lot of people won't admit to. Like the face on Mars, the pyramids, the structures that they've seen on Mars, stuff like that. And they're thinking, wow, that's so far out there and all that. But it's really not. If you think about, maybe they just, because when the solar system was being formed, Mars was a different temperature than the Earth.
Right.
The Earth was still molten and all that, but yet Mars could have been habitable and life could have started there and then thrived. And then when they had the nuclear war and it blew out all life on Mars.
Yeah. And here we are.
Because the isotope 158, I believe, or something like that, is the only way that can be made is through a nuclear explosion. And they found on Mars, there's 3 hot spots on Mars where it's still radioactive.
Oh, wow.
And there's that isotope in the air. And things like the face on Mars. Now, I'll mention that because that's something that everybody has seen. And they've also seen the photos of it where it looks like it's just a mountain to where they pixelated it so much that you can't tell. But how do we know there wasn't life on Mars as a civilization and then they wiped out? And then, nothing's going to last in a million years. The only thing that's going to last is rock. Everything else is just going to completely disappear. Even on Earth.
Twinkies.
Yeah. and deep fried chickens. But I look at that too. People think, oh, that's so far out there that, life on Mars. And there might have been.
Yeah, that's, again, not so far-fetched when you think about it. If you let your mind be open, why not Mars? I mean, it happened on Earth. Why not?
Yeah. And while the Earth cooled to where there was enough time where it cooled down enough to where life could start.
Right.
Mars is at a different time than us because they're farther away from the sun.
Right.
They could have had that time where it cooled down and life started and it did its process. And then all of a sudden something happened. Who knows what.
Yeah,
but something happened and then all life disappeared on it. And then it just sat and just wasted away. And now we're here looking at it a million years later.
Yeah.
And we're seeing things that we think might be structures on Mars. And everybody's freaking out saying, oh my God. I'm like, but.
Well, there's pyramids and we got pyramids here. It's not so far-fetched.
No.
It's when you get into the mind of like science, that's not. Why? Again, you just got to keep asking why. You may not get the answers, whatever, but don't settle. Yeah, exactly. Keep asking why. It's not. Again, why couldn't that happen? We've evolved. We made it ourselves so we can live on this planet. We're trying to find another planet for us right now.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have done that a million years ago on Mars?
And why couldn't it be that the spaceships and the aliens that we see now are just so advanced that they're looking for places to, or they're, like I said earlier, they're just tourists. Who knows?
Yeah, passing through.
Yeah. But, there's so many theories we could talk about. And, even going back to, like I started mentioning on the other show about the Fermi paradox, Enrique Fermi was sitting there at dinner one night and he said, where are they? And everybody's like, who? And he's like, the aliens, where are they at? Why are they not here? In the amount of time that the universe, as old as the universe is, at our current speed, there should be aliens everywhere. Well, we look into, well, why are they not here? And there's so many different things, like their planet has too much gravity. It's a water planet. They don't care about space travel. You know,
Or
they
they're
could be just
already
people
here.
that don't care. Or they're in their caveman days or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's, if there's one set of aliens, why can't there be a million different types? I mean, we're different being on Earth. We're like, oh, you're European, you're German. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why can't they be from the west side of the universe? And why can't they be, like, there's more. To me, there would be more than just one.
Yeah.
And who's to say they aren't the fish living in the bottom of the sea because we can't get down there?
Yeah.
Maybe they're hanging out with the Decepticons. I don't know.
They could be going past the Earth, and we pick them up as the signal going past the Earth, going. What's that? We get the signal. Yeah. We get the wow signal because they're going by in their spaceship, and they're from the east side of the space of the universe, and
exactly
the stereo in their spaceship's going. So we don't know.
Party spaceship.
And the universe is so vast, and we're just this tiny, tiny, tiny little speck.
Yes.
On it. Sort of like the paranormal field.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people in the paranormal field, and I'm just a tiny little speck over in the corner. You're rocking.
Oh, me too. Trying to figure it out with the rest of them.
But yeah, I mean, every star has planets around it. And almost, I'd say, 60% have their planets in the habitable zone. There are planets out there that can harbor life. We just don't know if they are. And I feel that we are really arrogant to think that there's no more life out there. I mean, we can't be the
absolutely
only ones. Mm-hmm. And whatever religion you believe in, whether you think that, I almost said elevation. Depends on how tall you are. No, evolution. Depending on if you believe in evolution, you believe that we came from monkeys, whether we, we started as a little slime in a pool somewhere and evolved, or whether you think God created us, or whatever you call God created us, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many planets out there, or so many opportunities for life out there, and you'll find that life takes hold everywhere. Mm-hmm. Life is in the deepest parts of the ocean. When they dug the borehole trying to go to the center of the earth, they found microorganisms so deep down in that hole. There is no way that organism has ever had oxygen or ever had light. The bottom of the ocean. They always thought that the ocean was just this barren wasteland with no life at all, until they got down there and they found that there are crabs and stuff walking on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That are in complete darkness, complete pressure that would crush anything we try to send down there.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the oxygen level is extremely low. There may be some, but they don't live on oxygen. They live on other things. And there's
amazing to think about.
The thermal vents they found at the bottom of the ocean have more life around them than what we have up here.
Mm-hmm. It's mind blowing, really. Again, it comes back down to us being able to wrap our minds and what can be around certain things.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. Well, one last thing I had here was Buzz Aldrin. We all know him. Mm-hmm. So when he was quiet when he worked for NASA or whatever, but when he got out, he said he saw a spaceship and he believed in aliens.
Yeah.
Why weren't we freaking out about that?
there was a thing that they would say, and he actually said on the medical channel, they're just over the ridge there. They're huge. There's so many of them. Things like that. Mm-hmm. They're looking at us, he said. And one of the code words was Santa Claus. And they've said on the radio, and you can type it up and find it, where their conversation, they're like, yeah, there's another Santa Claus. there's a Santa Claus. And so when we landed on the moon, they had set on their channels. They're huge. They're just over the ridge, stuff like that.
Yeah. It is a lot to wrap your head around. I get it, but we have to stop being
too.
like, no.
When they came back, they just made history. They landed on the moon. He walked on the moon. They were the only humans that we know of that ever did anything like that.
Right.
They came back and they did their press conference, and they were sitting there as if their whole families just died or whatever. I mean, or their puppy just died or whatever.
Yeah. Something traumatic.
They looked like they were so shocked or so depressed.
Yeah.
Instead, you would think that they'd be like happy. Look, we just went to the moon, stuff like that. But when they did their press conference, their first one, they were so somber, as if they found out that we are not alone, that there were aliens up there.
And they're told to shut their pie holes.
Exactly.
I couldn't imagine seeing some of the things that they've had to see, and even just going out in space and seeing something like that. You would not come back the same person.
Yeah. I mean, you went up to the moon thinking that you're going to be the only ones there, and all of a sudden you see
Santa Claus.
And all that. Yeah. There's another Santa Claus.
And another. Oh, look, a baby one. Yeah.
I have a visitor.
I was wondering. Hi, Jen. Does she know she's on camera now?
She's on camera. Yeah, she didn't know.
Yeah, she's gonna get she's gonna get released now.
Jen has made it into the studio.
Yay! All right. Well, we will wrap up this episode
All
then.
right.
So, again, do you want to tell the listeners how they can find you, or maybe an email or something?
Nah.
No.
No, you can check us out. We're the 222 Paranormal Podcast. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts from. Like I said before on the other show, when you're done listening to Paranormal XL, just go over to your search bar and type in 222 Paranormal Podcast, and you will find us. Or you can go in and type up 222paranormal.com, and you'll see us right there.
She's so funny. So, of course, email your stories to paranormalxl@writeme.com. Stay kind, stay humble, and remember, don't yuck someone else's yum.